Before we offer our prayers at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, we shall see an interesting event that took place in the divine life of Bhagwan. It's amazing to know how much Bhagwan knew about everything, though he always claimed himself as a beggar, a dirty beggar, a dirty sinner and all that. Amazing the way he knew about any topic. They say in the Upanishad, when you know that, the highest truth, you know about everything else also. In Shivakasi, there lived a great devotee of Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, by name Rajadurai Nadar. Shri Rajamanicka Nadar was well known to people, a great devotee of Shri Jnanananda, later became a devotee of Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan also. They together, Shri Rajamanicka Nadar and Shri Rajadurai Nadar, were instrumental in finding the house, Sannidhi Street House of Bhagwan. Until then, Bhagwan lived under a tree near the railway station. And then here and there, the usual haunts where he could be seen at certain times of the day. Again, one could not be sure because he was very unpredictable. He said every look of his, every word he uttered, every gesture he made, every step that he took, it was Father, and his work was getting done in that. So everything would depend upon his Father's work. But then there came a time he had suffered enough in the hands of the police and the rowdies of the place. Repeatedly, so much of suffering that finally, when these two friends, the devotees, asked him, rather begged him, to begin to live in a house. They said the Sannidhi Street House was coming for sale. And the place was very familiar to Bhagwan because he used to spend his time in the chariot mandap. And this house was just opposite that. Surely he could not object to living there. And finally Bhagwan agreed because he would be free from the troubles of the police and the ruffians of the street. He had suffered enough. His father's work was getting affected by all that. Shri Rajadurai Nadar, course of time, he passed away after Bhagwan shifted to Sannidhi Street House, that was. Shri Rajamanicka Nadar, his close friend, wanted a memorial for him. So he persuaded Shri Rajadurai Nadar's son, Chandra Prakash, to go take permission from Bhagwan. When Shri Chandra Prakash approached Swami, Swami readily gave permission for that. And then Chandra Prakash and his uncle went to Gandhi Gram and saw the stupi of Shri Mahatma Gandhi. It was 32 feet height. So they came to Bhagwan and reported that they had seen this memorial for Gandhi in Gandhigram, the stupa. And Swami agreed to 32 feet height for the memorial. And then he said, you have to procure stones for building the memorial. Sri Chandra Prakash, he went to a place called Mailadi, near Kanyakumari, had some rock. He polished them also nicely. So this polished granite was brought by Chandra Prakash for the approval of Bhagwan. Bhagwan had one look at it and said no. And then Chandra Prakash went to Mahabalipuram and had a stone polished there and brought it for Bhagwan's approval. And Bhagwan one look at it and said no. And then he went to this place, at that place, wherever he heard the stone was very good. And every time he would bring it only to get a no from Bhagwan. Swami rejected them all together. And then they didn't know what to do. So when they were there, they asked Bhagwan himself what to do. And then Bhagwan said, near Shivakasi, there's a place called Kariyanallur. He said, there is a Mahatma, one Punnaya Swamigal, and they have built a memorial for him. They have built a temple for him, actually. You find out where they got the stones from. So they went and inquired, and they said they got it from a place very near Kodangipatti, near this Karivalam Andanallur. And so they went to Kodangipatti, inquired. They saw 5 hills around. And then they found out that the village, there have been stone masons and stone cutters, generation after generation after generation doing the job. And there were groups of them doing the job. Now, Swami said, first you have to get the drawing ready. And for that you go and approach Ganapati Stapati in Mahabalipuram. So they went. Ganapati Stapati was very popular, was an expert in temple architecture. So these people went there and they proposed this plan from Bhagwan. When he heard the name of Bhagwan, he very happily agreed. Though he was in great demand, he was sought after by people, he readily agreed after he heard the name of Bhagwan. He also insisted on having darshan of Bhagwan. So these people came, and then Ganapati Stapati drew a memorial approved by Bhagwan. And then Ganapati Stapati gave measurements for the stones to build that. Some of them ran up to 16 feet, huge stones. 16 feet by 16 feet length and 3 feet breadth. Then Swami said, okay, you go to Kodangipatti, ask those people for these stones. But when they went there, those stone masons and the stone chiselers, the stone cutters, they said, see, there are 5 mountains here, 5 hills here, they're all granite rocks. But we are used to cut only 2 mountains here. On one mountain is a Muruga temple. The other 2 mountains we never approach because the stones were brittle. One hammered down and they would go to pieces. And they looked at the measurements given by Ganpati Sthapati for the memorial of Rajadurai Nadar, and they exclaimed, such huge stones, not possible at all. So they came back and reported to Bhagwan. Those people are saying that, and they have been for generations, they have been involved in the stone cutting from the mountain. And then Bhagwan, seated in Sannidhi Street House veranda, he was asking Chandra Prakash to describe what he saw there in Kodangipatti. Chandra Prakash reported there are 5 mountains around, all rocky mountains, granite rocks. And then Bhagwan said, okay, go on, what else? They said that one particular mountain has a small hill, it is, not a mountain. On top is the Muruga temple. And then Swami said, Lord Muruga must be facing a direction. Is there a mountain there? Yes, Swami, there is a rocky mountain. Then Bhagwan said, go ask those rock cutters to cut stones from that mountain. The mountain that was being faced by Lord Muruga from his temple. So Chandra Prakash rushed there and asked those masons, asked those there were groups and groups of people who have been involved in this kind of work. And he approached them and asked them. They said, see, these are the only 2 mountains we would cut rocks from. The mountain that your Swami has mentioned is impossible because it's very brittle, it goes to pieces. We know what we are talking about because we have been doing it for generations, not just 1 year, 2 years, generation after generation. We know the quality of the rock. It's very brittle. It's no use. It's not safe. So when they came back and reported to Bhagwan, Bhagwan insisted, no, only that mountain and only those rocks are necessary. And what is more, rocks, the huge cutting, the 16 feet, 16 by 3, that is the size that we want. You go tell them again that we want only that, only from that mountain, and let's see what they have to say. Just see how he is assigning only the impossible task. But if he assigned any task to anybody, you can be very sure it would be possible. Chandra Prakash knew very well that whatever the Swami said would be carried out somehow or the other. Otherwise he wouldn't be saying it. So he approached those people again and insisted that Swami says that we need to cut the rocks only from this mountain and you people have to do it. Then they agreed. They said, okay, we won't have any contract. We will have daily wages, because they were not sure. They thought if they would go into cutting, they would go to pieces and then the whole project would come to a stop. So they said, we will not commit to any long time work. Instead, it would be daily wages. Okay, because you insist upon that, we would try. So they used some explosives on the mountain, and to their surprise and delight, they found that it was no more brittle. It did not go to pieces as they expected, but huge rocks, and especially to the measurements given by Ganpati Sthapati for Chandra Prakash, were possible. They were absolutely delighted, and they said, oh, your Swami is out of this world. He is very powerful and he knows so much, because we have lived in this village for generations. We never knew that this rock could be so stable. It could only be the power of your Swami that it's possible. Anyway, then they were able to cut to the requirements of Chandra Prakash memorial of his father. And that's how after that, they polished it very well. And Swami also said, one more condition, before Ganapati Stapati drew the drawing, he asked him to go see Shri Gyananandagiri Swami's Samadhi temple. It was done, there were 6 angles to it. It was hexagonal. And Swami said, I want this kind of structure for that memorial. And so they had to make stones according to this kind of structure. So every demand was met with meticulously, and finally they were able to do that. And after they did, when they came and reported that the memorial was ready, it was 32 feet high, and it was, like he said, 6 sides to that. And they got Rajadurai Nadar statue also made there. Swami declared, he said it will be a holy place, and it is not the statue of Rajadurai Nadar, it is this beggar's. He did not even say his father's. He did not use his usual language. He said it would be this beggar's statue there. And whoever came and prayed there after lighting agarbatti and prayed, their prayers would be answered. This beggar would be there in Rajadurai Nadar's statue for thousands of years. And whoever came and prayed will be granted their prayers. What a blessing. The memorial is still there, very popular. It is in the venue, that is, the match factory is there, Chandra Prakash match factory is there. It is in the front, an open ground, and they have built it there. And people come and worship Rajadurai Nadar, and true to what Swami said, their prayers are all granted. And what was more, Swami, in Swami's Sannidhi Street House, if you go inside, there are 2 pillars. One pillar was giving in. It had to be replaced. And Swami told Chandra Prakash to get this pillar made of that stone from that mountain that was just opposite to Lord Muruga's place. And to the requirements of that pillar, they went and had it done there in Kodangipatti, and that could be seen even today in Sannidhi Street House. That stone made pillar. So you see how many people he blessed. He blessed Ganapati Stapati for doing it very well. He blessed all those mountains. He blessed all the stone cutters. He blessed Rajadurai Nadar for eternal memorial, a place of power and grace. He blessed Chandra Prakash and all those people who assisted him in the process. The whole place, this Kodangipatti, had a facelift, blessed by Bhagwan. So how did he know? How did he know there was a mountain there? And then the mountain rock could be cut. Huge stones can be cut out of that. He seemed to have knowledge of every subject. I had seen people who came and sang Thirupugazh in his presence, he would simply mention a certain numbers. He would say, you sing that song, 544. And then they would sing. And if there was some error, he would correct it. He had corrected Veda Mantras when Vedic Pandits came and recited Vedas. He had corrected them. He had also taught them the meaning of some of those Veda Mantras. Swami was an absolute treasure of knowledge. There was nothing he did not know. And that Swami is here now in front of us, standing as the Murti with raised hand and benediction, with a smile on his lips. He is very much here, vibrantly present and ready to give any boon. There is a flow of grace, a constant flow of grace from his raised hand, which says, you do not fear, I am here. We shall offer our prayers at his feet. Bhagwan,